for immediate release, October 14th, 2025. From concerned Bahamian voters and civil society organizations. Subject: constitutional duty ignored. The PLP government's delay in calling the Golden Isles by-election following the death of Minister Vaughn Miller. Press statement. The Bahamian people, through various civic and voter advocacy organizations, express grave concern over the continued failure of the Davis administration to act in accordance with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas following the passing of Honorable Vaughn Miller, Minister of the Environment and Natural Resources and Member of Parliament for the Golden Isles constituency. The Golden Isles constituency has now been left without representation in the House of Assembly, a clear violation of both the spirit and letter of our Constitution. 1. Constitutional obligation under Article 67.3. The Bahamian Constitution is unambiguous in its mandate. Under Article 67.3 of the Constitution, open quote, whenever the seat of a member of the House of Assembly becomes vacant, otherwise than by a dissolution of Parliament, a writ for the election of a member to fill the vacancy shall be issued within 60 days from the occurrence of the vacancy, unless Parliament is sooner dissolved. Close quote. This provision safeguards the right of every Bahamian constituency to continuous representation in Parliament. The vacancy in Golden Isles occurred immediately upon the death of Minister Vaughn Miller, and once the Speaker of the House officially declared the seat vacant and notified the Governor General, the constitutional clock began ticking. While the burial of the late member marks a moment of national mourning, it does not delay or suspend the constitutional timeline. The law is clear. Within 60 days of the vacancy, a writ of election must be issued to restore representation to the people. 2. Constitutional rights and executive neglect. Weeks have now passed since Minister Miller's passing, yet no formal notice of a by-election has been issued. The Golden Isles constituency remains voiceless, and the citizens remain disenfranchised. The people have the right to ask, has the Speaker declared the seat vacant? Has the Governor General received advice to issue the writ of election? And if not, what political motives are obstructing the constitutional process? This silence represents executive negligence and a breach of constitutional duty. It is unacceptable that a government sworn to uphold the rule of law would allow political calculation to override constitutional compliance. Charmer 3, a pattern of constitutional erosion. The Davis administration's handling of the Golden Isles vacancy reflects a wider pattern of disregard for constitutional norms and democratic governance. Recent controversies include the suspicious procurement of a biometric voting system without parliamentary approval or oversight, raising fears of electoral manipulation. The use of partisan media platforms such as Island TV Eyewitness News to broadcast national addresses, even though the network's owner is a declared PLP candidate, a blatant conflict of interest and abuse of state privilege. The administration's alignment with politically connected gambling magnates such as Sabas Bastian and Adrian Fox, and its questionable relationships with external influencers like Rick Fox, who have contributed little to national welfare. Such entanglements blur the line between government and party, undermining the independence of the state and corroding public confidence in democratic institutions. The constitutional and moral crisis. The failure to call a by-election in Golden Isles is not a mere procedural delay. It is a violation of the people's right to representation and a constitutional breach that borders on executive defiance of the rule of law. When the executive branch acts as though the Constitution is optional, it becomes a totalitarian force, imposing its will on the people rather than serving their interests. The Prime Minister's desperation for political survival, his use of state machinery for partisan ends, and his disregard for constitutional checks and balances reveal a government willing to subvert democracy in pursuit of a second term. The web of political favoritism, from street-level alliances to corporate gambling interests, exposes a regime that governs not for the people, but for its inner circle of benefactors. 5. Our demands to the government of the Bahamas. We, the concerned citizens and organizations, demand the following immediate actions. 1. Official declaration by the Speaker of the House confirming the vacancy of the Golden Isles seat following the death of Hon. Vaughn Miller. 2. Issuance of the writ of election by the Governor General within the 60-day constitutional limit. 3. Public disclosure by the Office of the Prime Minister and the Parliamentary Commissioner of the timeline and process for the by-election. 4. Commitment to transparency in the administration of the by-election, including nonpartisan oversight and independent monitoring. 5. Immediate clarification from the government regarding the biometric voting system purchase, including the legal authority and funding source used for its acquisition. 6. The Constitution is the people's shield. The Constitution of the Bahamas was not crafted for the convenience of politicians. It was written to protect the rights of the people and restrain the power of the executive. When any administration, regardless of party, fails to observe the supreme law, it risks transforming democracy into a facade of control. The Golden Isles constituency must not be left unrepresented due to political maneuvering. The by-election must be called, and it must be free, fair, and constitutionally compliant. Conclusion. We, the people, remind the Davis administration and the Speaker of the House. The Constitution is not yours to bend. It is the people's to defend. Every day that the people of Golden Isles are left without representation is another day that democracy in the Bahamas weakens. We therefore call on the government to act, not out of political convenience, but out of constitutional duty and respect for the Bahamian people. Signed, Concerned Bahamian Voters and Civil Society Organizations Coalition for Electoral Integrity, Bahamians for Good Governance, Citizens, Constitutional Forum Democracy Watch, Bahamas and affiliated partners.
Bahamian voters, this administration's governance is warranted to be dissolved.